Hello, welcome to Breakfast Central. This beautiful Tuesday morning, reaching you live from the beautiful city of Lagos, the state of aquatic splendor, the center of excellence. I am Gbenga and Olive.
There's something you want to say.
Introduce yourself first. Why are you so rude? Let the viewers know who you are.
Okay. Good morning, viewers. Thank you for joining us from wherever in the world you're watching. For the next 3 hours, we'll be within the country looking at some of the biggest political revelations, announcements in the past 24 hours. There's a possibility, not confirmed. There are people who are starting to make speculations. There seem a lot more stronger impressions about possibility of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan running for president, even though he has not confirmed. But the presidency has already responded even before he has announced.
They're responding to a rumor.
In case, you want to try
Just in case.
In case you want to dare it.
Okay.
We are here for you.
I don't want to go there.
Back
to what I wanted to say. So, you know our Breakfast Central promo, the montage, not promo. Just before we start, there's this, it gives me fear of missing out. I mean, that akamu-like substance with milk. I'm so hungry this morning. I don't know. Do you eat breakfast before you come to work?
No, I never do.
Wow.
Let me not say never do. I hardly ever.
3 hours. Wow.
Because I leave the house at 5 o'clock.
It'll be too early for you to eat.
5 o'clock, 5:30.
Oh, you're a superwoman.
It's too early. That's why I wore this cape now.
Okay.
Superwoman.
I'll make you my woman crush Wednesday.
Thank you,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
I really wish our producers can. I mean, if they can show the world that Akamo-like substance, then they can give us the one in the montage. Yeah, the one in the montage.
Oh, dear Lord.
I'm craving it.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah. Do you know what food item that is?
Akamu is from corn now.
No, the exact one. Is it akamu or oats?
I don't know. I can't even remember what it looks like.
Okay.
Because when we're counting down the minutes to the show.
Tomorrow I'll show you.
Okay, I'll look out for it tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, today is day 2 of Hotel Expo Nigeria. Of course, Joe Hansen is on standby. He'll be back with us tomorrow. He's not here because it's day 2 of the biggest Hotel Expo tourism event in the continent. And we will be joining him today. So if you'd like to meet up with us, meet up with Joe Hansen, and get engaging conversations, insightful panel sessions, Hotel Expo Nigeria is the place to be. Landmark this morning from 10 a.m.
Yeah.
That's 10 a.m. after Breakfast Central. So
if you want to meet up with Olive and I, if you want to take selfies,
we sign autographs.
If you want to take autographs, now I'm saying. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. Away from that very good news, I think we should start from bad news so that we don't end on a really sour spot.
Very true.
Yesterday, news reaching us was that a TV presenter, a lawyer, a pageant queen, Somto Maduagwu, unfortunately was killed in her apartment. She was a TV presenter with Arise News, and this was one of the most heartbreaking stories that we saw on the internet yesterday. She seemed so full of life as people began to share videos of her. You know, and Somtochukwu Maduagwu was a 29-year-old girl. She was born on the 29th of September 2025, and she was killed during an armed robbery at her residence in Katampe, Abuja. She worked as news anchor, reporter, and producer at Arise News and Arise TV. But like I did mention earlier, from this picture, you can see that beyond journalism, she was a lawyer. Arise News did put out a statement yesterday announcing this, saying it is with heavy hearts that the management and staff of the Arise News channel announced the passing of our beloved colleague, news anchor, reporter, and producer, Somtochukwu Maduagwu. Somi tragically passed away in the early hours of Monday, September 29th, 2025, following an armed robbery incident in a residence in the Katampe area of Abuja that is being investigated by the Nigerian police. Somi, 29, was not only a cherished member of the Arise family, but also a vibrant voice that engaged and connected with our viewers. Beyond the airways, she was a lawyer, a professional, supportive colleague, and a friend to many. We extend our deepest condolences to Somi's parents, siblings, extended family, friends, and loved ones at this difficult time. Somi's voice is now silent, but her spirit, passion, and legacy will endure as part of our collective memory. We remain in shock and call for a speedy investigation, apprehension, and prosecution of the culprits. So yes, that's the press release that Arise News put out, and we also here at News Central TV extend our condolences to the Arise TV family for this very grave loss. It's a really
very grave loss,
sad story. And many issues come to mind.
Worst of circumstances.
Worst of circumstances, unimaginable. You will think that the seat of power, the FCT, Abuja, should be the safest place. A place that, you know, is our seat of power, where you should feel safe. Of course, everywhere should feel safe. But of all places for this to happen, not just in Abuja and then in her home. If you cannot feel safe in your home, where else can you feel safe as a Nigerian?
I mean, if it's really, there's so many questions that are begging for answers, and I really hope the Nigerian police will start the investigation and get to the end of this. You wonder why someone would be sleeping in their house and then get attacked by robbers, and then it ends up in a murder case. It's terrible, and you should have some level of protection from the state. This is, I really don't have the words to quantify how I feel right now, but I mean, the only thing I can say is my thoughts and prayers go out to
really, that's really what it is. But beyond thoughts and prayers, we're calling on the authorities to carry out investigations, and that this doesn't just end up being one of the stories where there's a public outcry, everybody complains. Again, the public outcry has shown the general frustration by Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians feeling dissatisfied and sad at the rising spate of insecurity, where many would disagree. You know, maybe I wouldn't call it rising spate of insecurity, but about the fact that we're still dealing with insecurity challenges. And Somto did not deserve to die, and certainly did not deserve to die in that manner. She was a leading political voice. You know, I've seen a number of people share personal stories about her. Her colleagues at the SPPG, she was an alumna of the School of Politics and Public Governance. And, you know, her colleagues, I'd seen a message from Princess Agumbiade, all of them sharing their voices and their pain. She's a human, she's alive, a friend to many, and a voice that stood up in a world where we don't have a lot of females in that generation. So me not just represented, you know, what is possible today, but what the future of Nigeria's political and journalistic space looked like, especially for women. And it's really sad that at the prime of her life, she's been cut off, not given a chance to be able to blossom into what the future had for her and to be able to make the mark that she ought to have. She has done great so far, but there was so much that lay ahead of her, and she certainly did not deserve to die like that. We call on the authorities to carry out a proper investigation, and that the perpetrators of this act be brought to book. We do not want this just be one of those matters that is swept under the carpet and then we never hear about it.
And that's the only way to honor our memory, basically. The authorities need to step on the situation and do something about and find out those who are responsible for this gruesome murder. And
they're two not really directly connected cases, but I'm going to again bring up the murder of Christiana Idowu. We spoke about it yesterday. Christiana Idowu was a 300 level law student. I don't know, was it law? But she was a 300 level student in Funab. Yesterday we took the story. Her father has said 1 year later, even though they found the victim, who confessed, the perpetrator who confessed to the crime, who was the one that strangled her, attempted to molest her, you know, he attempted to molest her and killed her. He was arrested, but nothing has been heard of him. He's not been updated in the case. Again, we're using this medium to talk about the fact that we can't keep having these murders. We can't keep having these women losing their lives without these matters being investigated to the very end. So we're calling on law enforcement agents to also please let us know what the situation is regarding Christiana Idowu's case. The perpetrator of that act does not, he can't just be languishing in jail. Her father, watching that video yesterday was one of the most heartbreaking things I had seen when he was talking about how everyone's just gone silent and he doesn't know what has happened. The only way to honor the memory of a person whose life was cut short is one, to ensure that they get justice. Although the justice will never be complete, because like I say,
you can't bring
back the dead. Yeah. Justice that cannot bring back the dead isn't justice. So, but doing all that we can
to allow them get some sort of closure and healing.
And then ensure that that doesn't happen to another person again. You know, use that as an opportunity to say we have to step up. And it's really sad. Our condolences to the entire family.
Okay, now let's move on to our first wake-up conversation. I mean, it's also on a sad note because nobody wants to wake up and lose their house, something you've built with your sweat after years of hard work. But let's take a listen to this video, and then we'll let it tell the story, and then we'll be back to analyze.
At this my age, multi-lady 70. So, anything can happen after 70. So, the motor law. Isha will move shit to call labor. So, Eba Wagba or Yeru, da, Kagba, Oto Chale, and you Gagalo Celesi. What did the Agbaton Agba? So, I want to yin. If your man fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ wọn fẹ́ ṣe kìíní ohun tó bá máa fún wa kan rí i pé ó dáa because àwa náà la dìbò fún àwọn tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ Tinubu àwọn la dìbò fún wọn and àwọn ẹ̀yin lè rán àwa níṣẹ́ tá a lọ bá àwọn èèyàn táwọn èèyàn yìí dìde ní àsìkò tó jẹ́ pé nígbà òjò nígbà ẹ̀rùn láàárọ̀ lọ́sàn-án lálẹ́ lóru àwọn èèyàn dìde láti dìbò ìbò tó dèdè sí ni kì í ṣe pẹ́pẹ́ yára kìíní ẹjọ́ wíwíwí báwo ló ti wá jẹ́ pé àti ìlú ibi tí Tinubu ti jáde wá wọ́n wọ wọ́n jẹ̀ta àwọ̀ wọ́n pé it's alright wọ́n yẹ kí Tinubu wé kọ́kọ́ sí ẹ jẹ́ ká rò ó àwa mélòó ni ilẹ̀ Yorùbá state mélòó out of the 36 I did 6 states nínú 6 states yìí ọ̀nà àtúgbò lé tàwọ́ lé tàwọ́ náà á bá àwọn èèyàn táwọn èèyàn kú lójijì ẹ bá wa rò dáadáa ẹ̀yin lẹ́wà bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ̀yin lè ní bàbá nígbà tá a pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀ bàbá wa ọ̀kla ní fi wá dá o àwọn agáàdì ní fi yí lẹ̀.
I'd like to apologize for missing the subtitle and the translation, but I'll do my best to translate what he said. He said he's 70 years old, and you know, once you clock 70, anything can happen. Now, what kind of work is he going to do? And why do you go and evict people during the rainy season? These are the same people that voted for you during elections. That the government should have a sort of human face when doing these things, and they should think deeply before carrying out such what he termed extreme actions. And I guess that's, to paraphrase what he said, that's the summary of the entire discourse from my own point of view and my understanding of the Yoruba language.
It's, again, how we prioritize our citizens, how we prioritize the welfare of our citizens is something that must be spoken about. We're not saying, whenever we hear the stories of demolitions, the first thing we think about is, before there was a demolition, there was an erection. Who erected these buildings? Who gave the approvals for the erecting of these buildings? And why was it that we allowed the buildings get completed, people to live in, settle, form, you know, have their lives being sorted out, and all of a sudden you come back and you show up and say that the buildings are either illegal, you know, they were wrongfully built, that they didn't get the necessary approvals, and then you pull the buildings down. What this does, land is a fundamental part of people's history, story, and identity. A number of citizens have these properties tied to their family, you know, it's part of their ancestral land from generation to generation. Yeah. I would have loved to have a home where I would say, I grew up in this home. My father, I remember memories of my father, my grandfather in this home. I didn't have that, but there are people who have that. And there are people who have that in these homes that are being demolished. Watching that 70-year-old man speak really broke my heart, because really he's in the latter end, you know, of his life. Yeah. When we should be caring more for our senior citizens. Yes, I always say that we do not prioritize the welfare of our senior citizens. Is it this part of his life that we expect him to go and start hustling to build a new house? Where do we expect him to find? Exactly. Where do we expect him? But it's not necessarily just about him, right? But it's the fact that when it comes to demolition, yes, I know that our laws, by virtue of the Land Use Act, Section 1 of the Land Use Act, ensures that every land belongs to the governor, to the government, right? But government must have a human face. even in interpreting the law.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen recent videos at the trade fair, commercial properties that they've spent monies, building the foundation, block work and all of that. I mean, complete structures just demolished. Where were you in the first place when they were erecting all this? This the video of the trade fair. I mean, all the structures. It's just wickedness. So
when those in the Lagos market are complaining of the fire disaster, here they become complaining of a human disaster because, again, how did they get these approvals? There's no way they will
how
say to me.
How strict is enforcement? You build from, I mean, these are buildings that
they were not put up in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
It took months for these buildings to be completed. Government needs to have a human face, and we can't continue to be demolishing in a bid to enforce what we think is the right policy or right standard of operation. We have to prioritize citizens and do better. But let's bring you what Nigerians are saying about this. So next, Dear Liar Homes, Liar Property says, most of the properties demolished are illegal buildings. Most people buy lands without due diligence and verifying the documents. Some build on canals. On this one, last Lagos State Building Authority, Control Agency at fault because they're not doing their work. 16 years ago, a particular woman bought land in the estate where we live. My dad advised her that it is a canal and she'll be stopping the flow of water. There's nothing she didn't say to my dad. 2 years ago, Lagos State marked the place for demolition because houses around keeps getting flooded. People want cheap properties and they do not want to do the right thing. It may take government 20 years, but one day they will notice. Let's pause here. No, let's go back. Let's pause on that tweet.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that first one. There's something to unpack in that tweet. She says here that the woman bought the land in the estate where she lives. Who sold the land?
A land on a canal in what is supposed to be an estate. So you expect them to have a certain level of rules and regulations.
So how do we then ensure that people, and I agree that citizens have a role to play in terms of getting your due diligence done. Don't just buy when you're seeing Bonanza on Instagram or you're seeing random. There are lots of people who have realized that real estate is a thriving market and will do anything to ensure that they would
buy land 10 minutes from Dangote, give you fridge and 6 rams.
All sorts of things. But again, like I say, how did that building get constructed? How did that building get erected? Who gave the approvals? Yeah. And why did they not stop this when they were when they were still at foundation level? Let's take the next tweet. In the next tweet, this is a painful reminder that leadership choices have consequences. When we vote for our leaders, we entrust them with our safety, dignity, and future, not just our ballot. Compensation or not, the bigger lesson here is that governance must be about competence, empathy, and justice. Until we learn to put those first, the ordinary citizen will keep paying the price.
Yeah, and also, I mean, we're pro-law, we're for order and things being done properly. Because if everybody can build anywhere in the name of human face, then you have buildings on, I'm telling you, you have markets. Just look at the rail tracks. Nigerians, if you allow human beings to be lawless, they will take extraordinary measures. When you're riding on the trains, you see market stalls very close to the rail tracks. I mean, that's even a safety issue. And when the government chases them from there, people will say, oh, the government doesn't have a human face and all of that. It's just wrong. So human beings and Nigerians need to do things properly and follow due diligence. And also, for the enforcement side of government, they shouldn't wait till structures get to Tower of Babel level before you destroy them. I
think that, for me, this part you just mentioned is the most important part. We need to think of system and structures that would ensure that the government needs to think of system and structures to ensure that they can monitor buildings and ensure that these buildings don't kick off from ground level because it causes more damage. And it's not a good look for the government.
And even the cost of destroying them is more when they are fully erect structures. So it's better you're proactive and you stop this, you stop the buildings before it leaves foundation level.
All right, let's now head to Adamawa State where the pupils are demanding better learning spaces from the government. We'll take a look at this video and when we come back, we'll share our thoughts and then we'll talk more about it. Look at it, look at here. These are clips of students in a classroom without chairs, without the necessary learning facilities. Let's take a look at this video.
Aga oke karatu? Ba kujeru? Tun yaushe? Ya kai shekara na? Shekara 3? To yanzu me kuke so gwamna ya muku? Mutum ɗaya tashi ya magana. Mutum ɗaya. Anyone?
So that's a school in Adamawa State, and once again we apologize for not having the subtitle and translation for you. Unfortunately, Olive and I can't speak the Hausa language.
I can. Yeah. Speak for yourself. I'm just not in the mood to interpret.
I see. But it would be good to note that Adamawa has a some 6% multidimensional poverty rate. 3 out of 4 people lack access to basic needs. And that source is from the African Center for Leadership Strategy and Development. But, I mean, it's no excuse for pupils to learn in that condition. Just a few days ago, sadly, we were talking about pupils in Ekiti State. They were getting water out of their classrooms. This is a dry classroom. And it just goes to show you how much governors and politicians pay attention to education, how much they prioritize education in Nigeria. That's a primary school. That's the basic, the fundamental, the foundation that you will build upon. And if the infrastructure at that level is like that, then what hope do you have for the children? I mean, it's gross irresponsibility that in 2025, you still have schools like this.
Imagine what it will look like. We talked about Ekiti State packing water. This one, I imagine what it will look like as well if, you know, it were to rain. It's interesting to know that Adamawa State reportedly has about 886,000 out-of-school children. And unfortunately, look at what is...
Is it not also in Adamawa State that 21 wives of local government chairpersons went to...
Was it in Adamawa State?
I think...
I don't know if it was Adamawa State.
That went to Turkey to learn how to legislate or to how to support their government.
I don't think it was in Adamawa State. But again, like you have said earlier, it's the basic reflection of how we prioritize education. I don't think that we put the premium on education that we should. It's in, you know, from the top to the bottom. First of all, looking at our budgetary allocation to education, we've never met the prescription by UNESCO. Never ever met the prescription, you know, to our budget. And there are some states that, yes, are trying. If so, at a state level, at a federal level, there's so much that needs to be done. There's so much that can be done.
And they need to, I don't think they're paying emergency, they're not paying the attention that is due to the education sector because it has national security implications. How do you want your workforce? There's so many things that are tied to education. And at that level, if you've given up hope by the learning environment, it's really, really terrible. Nigeria should do better when it comes to education.
Absolutely.
And this is just a shame. I really hope this will spur... This is not to shame the government or to...
No, it is to shame.
I mean, it's to... I hope this shame will spur the government into action, the government of Adamawa State.
The time should come when citizens we will start going to schools, taking pictures and videos, posting them online, so that by the time they see it, there'll be some form of embarrassment for the ones that genuinely can get embarrassed, and then they will be moved to...
And we can't, you know, we can't corporate social responsibility our way out of this problem.
No, we can't.
Because you've had corporate organizations that have donated or renovated school blocks. You've had well-meaning individuals that have done their quota, but it's not their responsibility in the first place.
However, it is a collaborative effort
to take the major steps in fixing education, not just the environment, the curriculum, and the entire well-being of the pupils. How many new schools? The population is growing. How many new schools are they building in Lagos, for example, in your environment? Have you seen any new blocks? But you look at nightclubs and hotels, they're popping up every other... Anyway, that's a conversation for another day.
Why are the people patronizing them? All right, let's see what Nigerians are saying on X about that story. Nigerian politicians are the happiest and the luckiest in the world. They get away with everything and still thank God daily for blessing them with Nigerian citizens.
You know, if I had my way, if I had a genie, first thing I would do if I was president for one day, or if I could make policy decisions, is to first remove that excellency. Nigerian politicians don't deserve that honorific. There's nothing excellent about what they do.
Are you quoting
it should be Mr. And he said that.
He said, for you to be an excellency, you must have gotten your mandate through an excellence or something like that.
Forget the mandates. Your conduct has to be excellent. Do you know the meaning of excellence? We've rubbished it.
Excellence is above
peak.
Good.
Exactly.
It's above better.
It's the highest level of achievement one can get. And you look at all the states. You see sirens blaring here and there. You think they're in a hurry to go and fix things. They're not. They just want the ordinary proletariat, citizens, the serfs, to move out of the way, to clear, to go to wherever place they're going to. And it's really, really unfair. We need to do better.
We do need to do better. So
they should stop calling themselves Your Excellency.
So if you want to be referred to as Your Excellency, you better be an excellent leader. All right. Do we have a time for a final story?
Yes, and I really want to know your take on this, because many Nigerians of our age or post-NYSC Nigerians will be saying, we escaped this. So NYSC is now saying that NYSC core members will have to submit a thesis before they graduate or get the NYSC discharge certificate.
So the question is, what kind of thesis? Is it their final year thesis that is submitted in school? Or is it a fresh thesis? I'm not quite sure what the...
Their one-year thesis on, they had served the country, they must have seen one problem or the other. So their suggestions or solutions or discoveries or, research would be in that thesis. Because you can't just come and match for 1 year and collect alawi for 1 year. You have to give back to the country suggestions in ways, what areas you think can improve what you've observed. Research paper.
So
thesis.
Section 6, subsection 1, paragraph 23 of the NYSC policy. So they said President Tinubu has invoked provisions in section 2, subsection 4, paragraph 4, and section 16, subsection 1C of the NYSC Act. And this has, sort of provided for, as a quality assurance check and a yearly independent proof of continuous academic enrollment and affiliation. And it is expected to inviolably timestamp scholarship, academic activities, and footprint regardless of location. So they say that this is meant to check certificate racketeering and the abuse of honors conferred on individuals by academic institutions. One of the new mandatory requirements of Nigerian students contained in the federal government's policy is the deposit of academic outputs, which include thesis or project reports. So yeah, I was right.
From the university?
I would think so.
Yes.
Yes.
Before you were enrolled.
Well.
And I've seen lots of them when you buy Suya or Guguru and Epa. Different theses.
I used to have my thesis from university, but I still remember the topic.
Of course.
A critical analysis of child adoption laws in Nigeria.
Sadly, I can't remember mine. It was a long, long time ago in Bethlehem. Okay,
let's head out of here. But let us know, are you excited about the prospect of having to submit your thesis to get your NYSC maybe approval or get your NYSC posting? I certainly know that a number of Nigerian students are like, what kind of problem is this?
No, it's fresh. You're fresh from university when you go for NYSC, so they should have it.
Well, the reforms that they're asking for, there's been a lot of improvement in NYSC, but I would say that there still needs to be a lot more improvement in terms of where they live, in terms of treating them like human beings. You can't be coming to camp.
They're going to ask for hard copies, and they pile it up somewhere where they won't
even look through it.
It's
just formality.
Yeah, just another step to make life harder for Nigerians.
Well, but if you were a student at this point, and just imagine that you're a 2025 graduate and you're about to go for NYSC, what do you think your project will be about?
I can't think of...
Of all the stories that we talk about, which one would you say interests you the most to analyze?
Insecurity in Nigeria.
That's interesting.
Using AI to tackle it.
Hey, hi. Non-kinetic means. All right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Let's share with you what the headlines are. Dismisses former President Jonathan's 2027 bid, warns of dismal records. We'll be analyzing the state of the nation with Mr. Segun Showumi. The CGN seeks laws to strengthen judicial independence. Lots of sons were sworn in this recently, and we'll also be explaining that. The Africa Energy Week 2025 kicks off, and the newspaper front pages will be brought to you. Stick with us.